11 years have passed since the Yazidi Genocide in Sinjar, Iraq. While significant progress has been made to provide the community with services, reparations, and restitution, much more needs to be done. Welcome to On the Move, an IOM Iraq production where we have honest conversations with our specialists about our support to the people of Iraq. What works, what doesn't, and where do we go from here? I'm your host, Deepika Nath, and joining me today is our resident specialist on transitional justice, Sandra Orlovich. Welcome, Sandra. Thank you for joining us. So to get started, what is the importance of transitional justice for minorities in Iraq, and why exactly is this uniquely important to the Yazidi community?
Transitional justice after the genocide that was committed against some ethno-religious minority groups in Iraq starting from 2014 is something that these community members who went through the genocide and incredible suffering in the last 10 or 11 years, that is something that they see as probably the most important precondition for them to continue with their lives. To continue with their lives with scars, of course, many of these wounds that they have suffered will never heal. The dead people, the lost people will never come back. But what they need and what transitional justice is bringing them is recognition of their government, recognition of their fellow Iraqi citizens that horrible crime, the biggest crime of all, genocide, is committed against them. And looking in the last 4 or 5 years, we can say that the Iraqi government did deliver on that promise, that several important laws were adopted or implemented, and many government initiatives towards supporting the victims, survivors, and communities to restore their lives have been implemented. Of course, things are still not perfect. Many people, especially as the community, are still living in displacement. There is so much more work to be done.
So one of the measures that you're talking about was the Yazidi Survivors Law, which was launched in 2021. Can you share with us the significance of the law, the impact that it's made on the community, and what challenges we still have to overcome?
Yes, well, the Yazidi Survivors Law was really, at the time of adoption, has surprised many, even in Iraq, but also in international community, because for the first time and in a very emphatic manner, one Arab country has adopted a law that recognizes conflict-related sexual violence that was committed in the context of genocide and crimes against humanity against its own citizens, and also provides a set of reparation measures to survivors of these acts. So it was a quite big achievement at that time, just the adoption of the law. I would say the government body that was tasked with implementation of this law, with delivering reparations to, first of all, women survivors, but also young male survivors of Yazidi genocide, they really succeeded to deliver on the promise. Dozens of survivors have been recognized as recipients of support from the Ministry of Education to resume their education. And there are really many other types of benefits and support that was provided by the government through the medical care, through the support in obtaining civil documentation. And I think really from this perspective, after 2.5 years of the effective implementation of the Yazidi Survivors Law, we can really say that Yazidi Survivors Law is a success story for Iraq and for survivors. I will remind you that these are usually, in most of the cases, very young people. Some of them still minors, and some others are really, really young, in their 20s and 30s. And we can see that after the recognition and, of course, the distribution of these financial benefits, that their lives have changed significantly. And seeing that hope on these young faces, I think that's the victory, not only for them, it's victory for the whole community. And I'm very happy that IOM had its role in that process.
Thanks, Sandra. So just building on what you were sharing earlier, can you help us understand the symbolic importance of reparations and how this exactly helps rebuild the social fabric of society in Iraq?
Well, the states have responsibility to protect its citizens. Iraq had a constitutional obligation to protect its citizens, but just the very fact that a state could not and was not able to protect its citizens creates this responsibility and builds this responsibility for providing reparations to individual victims and communities who suffered from genocide and other crimes. And just that mere fact of recognition that there was a failure on the side of the state, and that because of that, the state is making this step and doing something to repair and provide certain recognition and tangible support and benefits to survivors. I think that's the most important, because of the magnitude of devastation and the historical context and geopolitical position of Sinjar. It's very hard to expect that only reparations will make Yazidi community able to go to Sinjar, that all of them will be able to go back to Sinjar and continue with this life. There is a lot of other things that need to fall in place. This other reparation program, which is often forgotten in Iraq, which is actually a reparation scheme for all Iraqis, for all Iraqis who suffered violence since 2003 until now. So it's a robust, much bigger reparation scheme than Yazidi Survivors Law. Yazidi Survivors Law provides reparations only to three very distinct categories of victims, whereas others are still, almost all of them are still out of the reach of this other reparation scheme, which is called the Law 20 compensation law. But I think in terms of the transitional justice for the whole community, I believe that until the return and the return to Sinjar is completed and the life there really is secure and dignified, that people have access to basic services, employment opportunities, only that maybe we can maybe discuss and say, like, is this also like a good example, a success story of transitional justice for Yazidis? For now, I think this is too early.
Finally, can you help us understand the role of IOM in this process and how we are helping the people of Iraq?
IOM mandate, as it is written in our key strategic and organizational documents, dedicates a lot of time and space to the importance of our work in addressing displacement crisis, but not just in a humanitarian way, in providing displaced population with their immediate basic needs, but also working with the communities and with the government to resolve displacement in a sustainable manner. Our approach to addressing the displacement of Yazidi community is comprehensive, in the sense that the support that is provided by IOM to Yazidi community ranges to supporting them in their current places of displacement in the IDP camps, supporting them with their decisions and process of returning to Sinjar, supporting them as well when they are back in Sinjar, providing them with some economic livelihoods. On top of that, of course, through the Transitional Justice Program, we work collaboratively with the government, ensuring that the government has capacity to deliver on some of these promises of transitional justice reparations, and long-term policies that really speak more into and contributing to rebuilding trust between the government and the Yazidi community.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Whether you're joining this conversation from Baghdad, Erbil, Sinjar, or even abroad, we're glad you're here. Join us again next time, where we continue to explore the different aspects of migration and its impact on the development of Iraq. This is On the Move.